Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life. And of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything. But there's so much good.
Welcome to the second season of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And don't forget to catch up on any episodes from season 1 you might have missed. Today we're talking with Kristina Daniels, who is happiest when she is sharing time with souls she loves. From flowers to fur family, Kristina uses art as an extension and expression of love. Her creativity combines botanical oils, nature photography, writing, and illustration. And she has published 3 books under The Adventures of Avery Finn, about a lovable cat who we accompany as he experiences adoption, a farewell, and a new friendship. Kristina's services involve using flowers, herbs, and essential oils to create healing formulas based on botanical knowledge. She works with plants as botanical ingredients to support emotional healing, such as grief work and rituals for self-care. Kristina provides information on botanical healing and invites others to connect with nature through her services, ceremonies, and workshops. Welcome, Kristina, to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. You know, I'm really excited to talk with you about happiness and why it is so important in your life. What is it that really makes you happy?
Well, hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for having me. What really makes me happy? It would be spending time with my beloveds, from flowers to fur family to those little humans that are in my.
So when you say fur family, do you have a lot of animals? I mean, I assume you mean animals, correct?
You assume correctly. Yeah, I have 2 cats in my life who have actually been with me for quite some time, almost 18 years with my oldest, whose name is Avery Finn. And then I have a second cat, her name is Kaya. She's about 15, or we'll be celebrating her adoption day on July 5th, and that's when she's 15. So they've been long-term family for me. And the oldest cat, Avery, is actually so infamous that he has some books that I wrote and illustrated about parts of his life.
Right. I was reading that in your introduction. It's called The Adventures of Avery Finn. So is he like a really adventurous cat? I mean, what are some of his adventures? I don't quite understand.
He really is an adventurous cat, and he was so much so in his real life that's what kind of spun the stories. I could tell you that when I first adopted him, he was a stray, and I couldn't get out of my house for the first month with the trash. He would attach himself to the bottom of the trash bag. He got to know all of the neighbors in my condominium complex and would visit all of them regularly and leave presents at their doorstep. So he was a very social cat and introduced me to a lot of people. And he's traveled with me. So for 18 years, we've moved and lived in Raleigh, North Carolina, as well as Tucson. So travel is one of those things that makes me happy. And you were talking about happiness before, and being able to write the books pulled in two of my favorite creative things, which is writing and illustrating or painting. So if I'm not spending time with them socially or in person, I've been able to really express my love for our lives and our friendship together through these books.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like he's got a great sense of humor. I mean, why would he attach himself to the bottom of a trash bag? Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean,
that what I think is actually kind of is because he was a stray and he just probably didn't get enough food as a little guy. And so he was definitely a garbage diver in this condominium complex. I couldn't believe my neighbors would tell me that he would climb into the trash. They would see him, random Avery sightings were seen all over the neighborhood, that the garbage bin was one of the favorite places. And so he has been all over. There was a neighbor that we used to live with who had a little Chihuahua. Her name was Daisy. She used to walk Daisy at the same time every day. And Avery would wait for them to leave. And he had figured out that there was a tear in her screen door, and he would go into her house every day at the same time, and she would have to chase him out every afternoon. So he was a very social cat, and really enjoyed humans. For having such a rough beginning to life, he really he had a lot of humans and a lot of friends. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like humans actually saved him. I mean, you are his human, right? And you saved him. And here's the question. You were feeding him, weren't you? And I'm sure really good food. But he still had this sort of like, I just picture him as like sort of a little bit of a toughie, you know. I can handle the world. I'm just going to go out there and look at the trash. This kind of thing. I think it's so wonderful. And these books are available on Amazon, is that correct? Or on the YouTube, people can listen to?
Yes, they are. They are available on YouTube. Them? I am, and I'm in the process of hopefully getting them recorded so that they'll be available on audiobooks. But right now they are in print, and they are available through most book retailers, so Amazon included.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And are they for adults and children, or just children?
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
That's such a good question. They're available for anybody who has ever had a pet or has opened their heart up. Because the way that I used Avery as kind of the narrator of the books was the first thing we talked about was his love of the outdoors, because he was always trying to get outside. He was, like I said, he was meeting neighbors and all sorts of people all over the place. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, he had the first cat that we lived with, which was a long-time cat for me. She was on her way out of the mm-hmm. So the second book was really talking about him saying goodbye to a friend and talking about death. So it was just a really gentle way to talk about a tough subject and do it in a way that was really graceful and loving. And then in his mm-hmm. third adventure, he meets a new friend. So I've got 3 books that are written and 3 books that are still waiting to, they've been written, but I'm still in the process of illustrating. So hopefully there will be 3 more.
Wow.
And I know. Well, and this is fun because we've been talking about happiness, and like this little cat came into my life almost 18 years ago and has brought so much joy. And I think people who have connect with animals really understand that relationship. It's such a special relationship, and it's so different because it's nonverbal, because we can't ask them how they're feeling. We have to pay attention to all of their body movements and the other ways that they speak to us, which is really a beautiful way to interact with the world and develop sensitivity. So he's just brought an incredible amount of happiness into my life, as well as a lot of other people. So his stories are rather infamous. I have friends that tell stories about the first time they met Avery and how ridiculous he was. He used to, as a kitten, love to ride, like he would run through the house and slide on a rug, and I had a Salcedo tile floor, so the rug would just slide across the floor. And he would slide until he would like smash into the glass door, which is glass barrier. So he would have these kind of, just ridiculousness of a kitten, right, or a young cat. He loved to play Jack in the Box. He would love boxes and to pop out of them just to startle people. So he was kind of he always had a sense of humor himself and kept everybody on their toes. He was also in trouble. Yeah. So he had a paw that was always in a milk container. I'm a tea drinker, so I've always had a cup of tea and maybe a little soft serve milk, and that paw was in that milk container more often than not. Butter licked off his toast. You really couldn't leave a lot down. He was into it.
So I can hear that a lot of your creativity, and I think other people's creativity, comes from observation, because you have really observed his behavior, his energy, his nonverbal ways, and cats can be very verbal also. I mean, you can hear in their sounds what they feel. So it's just amazing. I'd like to hear a few of your thoughts around just nature itself, because I know that you're very into nature and herbs and essential oils as a way of healing, self-care. What do you think? Would you share some of those ideas? Nature, self-care, healing. It all seems to come together, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Oh, I'm glad you asked. I feel like one of the things that brings a lot of people happiness is to be outdoors and just in the moment, whether you're in your garden or you're just sitting outside, absorbing a little bit of sunlight. Perhaps you're taking a walk somewhere. Perhaps you can observe the trees, or even sometimes my favorite flowers are those crazy little weeds that come up between the sidewalks.
Or something to come up between the trees, did you say?
Oh, between the cracks of the sidewalk. Some of my favorite flowers are those little weeds that will grow between the cracks of the sidewalk. So even if you don't have trees around you, nature is always finding a way to kind of present herself and remind you that she's here. And I think that if we can slow down and use our senses, it will actually begin to slow our parasympathetic nervous system down. And we begin to kind of breathe. And then that's where I think the happiness begins to kind of manifest. You have to slow down just a little bit for it to kind of build up. And then you can see it all around you. Nature, and when you're using your sense of smell, you mentioned the aromatherapy, and I love aromatherapies. I'm a certified aromatherapist, which means I went through some pretty extensive training, 265 in-person hours, and research, as well as case studies. So there was a lot to it, because you are working with plants of medicine. So the olfactory nerve, when we're smelling something, whether it's a rose or an essential oil, the olfactory nerve ends in the part of our brain that is responsible for memory and emotions as well as hormones. So it's in the area of the amygdala. And that's an incredible way to connect and bring about feelings of joy or feelings of grounded.
I was just wanting to ask, what are some of the essential oils that do bring about the feeling of joy? So people can start to think about that, maybe go out and get some.
Boy, that's a great question, Sandra. I think the way I'd answer that question is it's really personal. We can read a lot of articles, and I can tell you that basil is really great for kind of an anti-anxiety. It's great for the adrenals. Rose is calming and grounding for hormones, but frankincense is a beautiful one. But I feel like people, what I've seen in the almost 9 or so years that I've been practicing aromatherapy with all sorts of different humans, and like, yes, so is that everybody is really different. And the best thing to do is sort of lean in and experiment. And I would say before you even buy an essential oil, notice the herbs and the flowers and the plants that are growing around you in your neighborhood, maybe even in your own backyard. And rosemary and lavender and roses, there's just so much to nature's garden that would probably be the place that I'd tell someone to start, is observe what you're really leading into in nature and then find the essential oil. Because the way the essential oils are made are oftentimes in the distillation process, they are going to collect different chemicals and have different potencies. So people respond really differently to the different essential oils, and it's hard to just pick one. But I would say if you're looking to kind of bring your vibration up a little bit, think about the parts of plants and trees. The highest vibration is the flowers. So those are really high.
What? The highest vibration is the what?
Are the flowers.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
So the flowers vibrate really high. That's a high vibrational point. Think about like the roots, things like ginger, root-based things. Those are the things that are going to slow people down and keep them grounded. So the energies of where we're actually even collecting the essential oils from bring in the energies of the plant. So that's another way to help someone kind of at the beginning of essential oils figure out what they might be attracted to. So if happiness means slowing down, then maybe something that's a little bit more grounding is going to be a better fit for them. But if there's somebody that's maybe already very slow and they're looking to kind of more energy or brightness, then I would suggest maybe a leaf or a flower. So, and that could be something like cinnamon leaf, right? Or a flower
It could be something like what?
It could be a leaf, like cinnamon leaf is a pretty common essential oil, and eucalyptus is made from leaves. Those, again, are really beautiful and openers, kind of lift people up, as well as the flowers. The flowers could be, oh goodness, from rose to lavender. There's just 101 different scents and plants.
I have a question.
Select them. Yes.
My favorite flower, and I have 5 plants that are filled right now with, my favorite flower is peony. And I have 5 plants, and they all have at least 5 or 6 peonies on them, and they're all coming out in June. Is there such a thing as peony essential oil?
You know, that's a great question. I am not familiar with the peony essential oil itself. And I will tell you there will probably be as a pure essential oil. There are a lot of essential oils that you will come across that are aromatics of that are either scientifically or chemically designed to smell like peony. So it's not from the peony itself. But I would have to get back to you, Sandra, and tell you for sure. But I'm less familiar with peony as an essential oil. It would smell incredible, though. And I'm sure somebody's tried to distill it. It's just not one of the ones I'm familiar with right off the top of my head.
And also, they're so dramatic. This is why I plant them, because when they bloom, they're just so dramatic and so, just beautiful. And I have white ones and pink ones and sort of something in between, like a maroony type of color. Oh. So, I mean, it's just my favorite flower. And it's not so easy to grow them in Santa Fe either. You have to really work on it. And they love to eat and they love water and, but they're very resilient. I will tell you this, in the wind and whatever, and they just, even the blooms, the wind and the snow, we had some snow and it came and they just sort of dropped their heads, and then when the snow left, they popped their heads back up. So they're very, very strong. And also, interesting about peonies, they will not bloom unless you have ants. The ants have to come and they have to lick the bud. And they keep licking it or whatever they're doing. They walk all over it and they help it to open. So if you don't have ants, you can't have the flowers.
I love that. I didn't know that, and I'm so happy to, because I think it's a really great example of how we build ecosystems. Like, we can't have the pollinators without the flowers. We can't have the ants without the peonies, and how they work together to create this beautiful bloom that I remember. I'm so impressed you're growing them in Santa Fe. I remember them in Washington State when I lived there, and they were glorious flowers. And yeah, you're right, dramatic. And I believe some of the meaning around them is for good fortune. So you're surrounding yourself with good fortune.
Oh, that's good news. I'm glad. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think they also we should probably look, but I bet you they represent happiness. Because wouldn't good fortune and happiness sort of go hand in hand?
I will check it out. Yes. And so I have another question, or something I'd like you to think about or tell me a little more about, because in the opening of your bio, it says here that you're happiest when you are sharing time with souls that you love, and that art is an extension and expression of love. And I know that every major religion in the world is based on love. So I was wondering what your thoughts are about love and how it manifests itself in your art and in your own expression of dealing day to day in life.
I think it's one of those things that keeps me wanting to get up the next day. I think creativity is really, I've expressed myself in many ways over the years as an artist, and some of it has been angry art and political, and I can honestly tell you, when I started writing the Avery Finn books, because it was born out of so much love for him, I was just able to create in a way that I hadn't before. Even the time that I'm spending now, going back and doing illustrations, I just, like I get to sit with the cats or look at photos of the cats before I start illustrating or bringing paint, watercolor is what I've been using to the paper. And it's a different process when it comes from love. When I blend, as an aromatherapist, one of the things that I blend for is grief and for death and approaching death. So also connected to grief and loss. And I think that is another expression of love. And so when I'm blending for folks in that genre, that area, it's quiet, it's reflective, it's celebratory, and it has meaning, and it has so much meaning when you can pass that to somebody else so that they can have a good experience. Like, that's a really incredible gift. And I think that happens with the aromatherapy, and I absolutely see that happening, with photography and painting and books. Like, that's something that you share with other people, and the gift just kind of keeps giving to others. And it all started with this place in your heart and experience of opening and being brave enough to walk into a relationship, whether that's with a human or an animal or a plant.
Mm-hmm. 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 And isn't that interesting that most people don't think of relationships as plants? I do, of course, but
well, I was going to say your peonies, yeah.
Right. But and with animals, I think of people, dogs, for instance, they used to be helpful in many ways, and now they're emotional support animals for a lot of people. A lot of people, and especially, they take them in France. You can take your dog into the restaurant with you, right? And all this sort of thing. So it's very interesting how animals have started to become emotional support for human beings.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think we were as disconnected as we are today. Like, it's so funny because we're more attached than ever through technology, but we seem to be lacking deep personal relationships. And communities are so spread out now. Families and friends are so spread out. That, I feel like animals have really come into that space where, I don't know, if there's a level of trust that you have with an animal that's so unusual. And I wish people did it more with plants. They don't travel as well as dogs, right? But neither do cats, or most cats don't. But like plants, I think for some people and for a lot of us, it's amazing to go out into a garden, and I'm just thinking because it's spring and your peonies, my love is roses. My mother and my grandmother had rose gardens, and so I've kind of taken those on through the years, and I just to see the first buds open up is a spectacular event, as spectacular as it is in the fall when you watch the last one say goodbye and the petals go and you know it's a different season now. So, yeah.
And the smell. Mm.
Right?
They
the
smell. Don't they smell?
Color. Right? And like your peonies, they're supporting all these different pollinators. We know that the world that we're living in right now, we've got so many insects that are dying, along with our trees and plants and our animal species. We're really in a transitional place right now. So I think the more people can remind themselves about nature and being out in nature, whether it's your own backyard or you have the privilege of being able to take a hike somewhere beautiful or take a trip somewhere that's new, connecting back to nature is a very important way to kind of find our way back towards happiness.
Yes. And I want to just make a comment about the fact that you were talking about that when you come from a place of love, your creativity process, your drawings, your illustrations just flow in a different way. And I think that love and passion for whatever it is that you're drawing, it puts you in a space that really makes you appreciate life itself. To me, love and life sort of go together. I happen to love life, just experiencing everything in life. So what's your thought about that?
I agree with you. I think the thing I would add on to that is, for me, and I think there's something that's happening in my life right now that's very pertinent to this, but impermanence. There's something about love and life, and also understanding that there's an impermanence to it, that life isn't going to go on forever and ever. That all of a sudden really makes you kind of pay attention to the good stuff and what really is. You track it in a different way. I've always felt that death or impermanence or the ending of something really gives us that time and space to appreciate it for all of it, like the good, the bad, the all the fun and the piece, the whole picture of it. And to be able to do that, I don't know, it's just another expression of love, I think. But yeah, it kind of pulls it in tighter, the impermanence factor.
And so, we've sort of come to the end of our time together, and I just was wondering if you had any last thoughts that you'd like to leave us with.
Oh, thank you. The impermanence of our conversation. I hope that it was really fun for me to be able to talk with you, and I'm so glad you asked such intriguing and deep questions. I hope that somebody that's listening somewhere also got something from it, or has a smile on their face from a memory maybe of their favorite peony or their favorite flower. Yeah, thank you.
Or their favorite adventures.
Right, their favorite adventure.
You're welcome. Yes, and their favorite animal. And I just also, before we go, I wanted to mention that they can find you on your website, which is KristinaLDaniels .com. And also they can listen to the Adventures of Avery Finn on YouTube. And all of that will be written out when people can see that when I write out the intro. So again, thank you so much for being with us, and I'll look forward to putting your podcast out there for all of us to enjoy.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Monthly Key to Happiness 23. Take care of your body. You hear it all the time, including several times in our podcasts. But your physical and mental health are closely intertwined. Again, remember, plenty of sleep, eat healthy, exercise, watch your thoughts, and celebrate happiness in your life.
Newsflash. Please sign up for your copy of our Keys to Happiness at sandramcknight.com. Thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And if you enjoyed the conversation, please help spread the word by sharing with your friends and family. Before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Kristina Daniels, for sharing her happiness story. And to share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast, send an email to sandra@sandramcknight.com.
Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong. You'll find that love is all around. Follow your bliss, no